Hey, I'm John Cannell. Today on Preppy Kitchen, we're making a marble cake. So let's get started. First off, set that oven to 350, line 2 9-inch pans with parchment paper. You're gonna give 4 ounces of bittersweet chocolate a good chop and set it onto a double boiler to melt. You could also use your microwave. For this marble cake, we're making 1 batter and flavoring half of it with the chocolate. To make the batter, we need 330 grams of cake flour. That is 2 3/4 cups. Perfect. So cake flour has a lower protein content and it'll give you just a really delicate, beautiful crumb for your cake. For leavening, we're using 2 teaspoons of baking powder. 1, 2. Half a teaspoon of kosher salt, and we only say kosher because we're specifying like a medium grain size. Using fine grained salt is gonna give you a saltier cake because more fits into the little measuring spoon. We're gonna sift it out. Sift, sift, sift. Our scale is done. It's time to whisk, 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 and just set it aside. Time to get your stand mixer out. Now we're gonna cream 1 cup of butter or 226 grams in a stand mixer fitted with a paddle attachment. Once it's nice and creamy, we're gonna add 1 3/4 cups of sugar. That is 375 grams. I did it. Is it? 350 grams. All right, my butter's all creamed up. Now we're gonna add 350 grams or 1 3/4 cups of sugar. Mix this until it is light and fluffy, about 3 minutes. And in the meantime, I'm gonna crack 4 eggs into a bowl so they're ready to add in without the shell. Mix it up. If you know me, you know I'm gonna scrape the bowl down. I want this fluffy throughout, and when you're using a stand mixer, it can kind of tamp the butter down on the bottom and compact it. So mixing it down is always a good idea. Now we're gonna add our eggs in 1 at a time, wait for it to incorporate before adding the next. And yes, you're gonna scrape that bowl down 1 more time. See how it's all yellow? Yeah. Okay. Always hilarious doing stuff on film because you see just white unmixed butter and sugar. I see an egg soup because it is not scraped down. So part of the mixture is really soft, part of it is totally unmixed. All right, back to mixing those eggs in. Bloop. One thing I didn't tell you is you need to have a cup of buttermilk and a tablespoon of a nice vanilla. Add that in, 15 ml, and give it a mix. This is gonna be alternated with the flour mixture back and forth as you make that cake batter up. And you'll notice that my chocolate is all melted and ready to incorporate into the chocolate part of the cake. With my mixer running on low, I'm gonna add in 1/3 of the flour and half of the milk. So you alternate back and forth in 3 batches. And don't waste too much time in between the batches because you do not want to overmix this cake batter. If you do, it's not going to be light and fluffy. Last bit of flour, in you go. Let that mix until it is just combined. It is just combined as of this moment. Oh, no, that was the wrong way. All right, it's just combined. We're gonna divide this batter in half. You can eyeball it, you could use a scale, it's totally up to you. Half of the batter goes into the pans. Half of the batter gets flavored with chocolate. It's so easy, and I love the visually striking, just marbleized effect you get. I love my scale. I'm gonna use it again and recycle the bowl, just zero the scale out. And by the way, I get a ton of questions asking about like, what scale do I use? I love my OXO scale, OXO. There's a link in the description box. Along with all the other products I use in the Amazon store. Just measuring out 330 grams, that's all I needed. That's about 1.5 cups of batter that you're reserving. This chocolate is melted and it's not screaming hot or anything, so it's gonna go right into this reserved batter. Now we're gonna mix this chocolate into the batter along with 1/4 cup of buttermilk, and then we're gonna start marbleizing. My cake pans are buttered and parchment papered, but I didn't add the flour in, so I'm just going to toss around a nice sprinkle of flour for the side. It's really the side that matters, not the top, because the parchment paper will not stick. Now we're gonna add our batters into the pan. A lot of times people just add the vanilla batter and then add the chocolate batter in on top and swirl it around. But after much experiencing marbleizing cakes, I like to kind of go back and forth. It gives you a better play of colors, which is one of the main attributes of this cake. Now we're gonna add some of this amazing chocolate in. No, I've not been eating cake batter off camera. How dare you? Now for the fun part, we're gonna swirl this up. I'm using a little spatula. You could also use a knife. Just go in there. Don't overmix it, but get little ribbons of chocolate throughout. So you're dragging the vanilla through the chocolate and creating a nice marble pattern. I do this for marbleized cheesecake all the time, which is one of my favorite recipes. Okay, that looks good. On to the next piece. Before these go into the oven, I'm wrapping them in cake strips. It's totally optional, but it'll give you a cake that you never have to level off. It'll just bake really evenly and have a soft edge too. Wet cake strips on the edge. The cake layers are gonna bake for 30 to 35 minutes at 350 or until the centers are set and a skewer comes out clean. Into the oven. While the layers bake, we're gonna make our delicious chocolate frosting, starting with 1.5 cups or about 340 grams of unsalted butter that's at room temperature. We're gonna cream it up for a few minutes so it's nice and creamy, then sift the cocoa powder in. And this cocoa powder is pure rocks, so we definitely need to sift. That looks good. Now we're gonna add a 1/4 teaspoon of salt in, along with 1/3 of a cup of cocoa powder. And if you can tell by the color, I'm using Dutch process today because it gives you a nice dark, rich color. Push that cocoa powder through. Like I said, it's pure rocks today. Don't know why. That's all in. Now we're gonna mix this up until it's nice and creamy. Scrape the bowl down. We should have scrape the bowl down theme music. Like Ina Garten has her do 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 do, like that. All right, now we're gonna mix this up. Really get it nice and mixed up because nothing stands out more than a lump of butter in cocoa powder. See that butter? Look at that. This is about 5 3/4 or 675 grams of confectioner's sugar. I weighed it out on my scale. I'm gonna add this in a bit at a time, alternating with the cream. I'm using 5 tablespoons. Make sure to mix on low. You don't want a crazy sugar cloud, but you also don't want to beat too much air into your frosting. That's why you have those big holes, or that's why you would have those big holes in frosting. Mixing on low, we're gonna drizzle in a little bit of cream. And you're gonna think, oh my gosh, it's not mixing? It'll mix, just walk away and come back. It'll be done before you know it. Let's drizzle in the remaining cream. Let it mix up. And this is optional, but you could definitely add a teaspoon of vanilla. There you go, adds a little bit of flavor. Mix that up until it's nice and creamy. And if you want a thinner consistency that's more easily spreadable, just add an extra tablespoon of cream in there. That frosting's nice and creamy, so let's assemble the cake. I let my cakes cool in the pan for about 20 minutes. Now we're gonna invert this onto a cake plate or whatever you wanna use. And just like that, it came out. And you can see there's a beautiful marbleized texture even on the very top of the cake. And because we used cake strips, it's perfectly flat, no need to trim. Center that up, and now we're gonna add about 1/2 cup or so of frosting right on top and just smooth it out. I need to put a little dollop of frosting right on the bottom to hold the cake down. That's the glue. Now we're gonna invert the second layer right on top. Just use your hand instead. If your cake is ever stuck in the pan, look how pretty that is. All you need to do is give it a good knock on the side like this. Pow, 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 pow. It'll shake it off and it'll just free it up. Take the remaining frosting, spread it all over your cake, cover the side of the cake with frosting, and then just swirl it up to your heart's content. You can do any decoration you want with this cake, but for me, the inside is the star of the show, so I like to keep it simple on the outside. If you like this recipe, check out my easy cake playlist. That is some melt in your mouth amazingness. Hope you get a chance to make this recipe, and I'll see you in the next video.